Nearly all of your engagements within Fortnite at this point comes down to shotguns, box fights, or both. So knowing how to manipulate your enemy and win all of your shotgun fights is crucial to winning more fights and games. What's up everybody, Sage here. Today we're going to be looking at tips for both box fighting and close range aim tips because they really go hand in hand together. And with skill based matchmaking in pubs and arena mode, these fights are occurring more often than ever within Fortnite. And knowing how to outplay and outskill your opponents no matter how good they are is something that you'll always need. Before we do jump into the video, I want to ask you guys, if you do enjoy my videos, to please leave a like and subscribe if you want to support me. And if you want to go even the extra mile, you can always use code SALAGE in the item shop. Close range fights are more important than just about any other type of engagement at this point. They require more skill in terms of building, editing, and overall just general mechanical skills. But that also means there's a larger skill gap within these fights. So typically, if you're the better player and make the least amount of mistakes, you're more than likely to be the one coming out alive. And even if you're scuffed and maybe your opponent is in a better spot than you, the better that you are, the better chance of you turning it around and becoming the winner of the fight. We're going to start off with looking at some of the hardest changes that I've seen most players go through. And that's from the combat meta back to the pump meta. Because the way the shotguns are utilized is completely different. The combat was basically a shotgun, SMG, and an AR all packed into one, which means spraying the combat was a good idea instead of going for quick edits and shots, as it didn't do as much damage as a pump. But now, since the pump has been removed, the game has shifted, and it's almost like it went backwards. I've noticed many players not utilizing their spray weapons like everyone had beforehand, but sometimes you pump somebody for 180 damage, and a single shot from an AR or an SMG would easily finish them off. But you ended up just not pulling it out. It is a habit that I found myself losing, and shifting back into a spraying my SMG or AR to follow up has been difficult to re-implement. But the pump is much more unique and requires more skill to use in comparison to the combat or any other shotgun, as just like in box fights, the skill gap of using the pump is high, and players who know the best way to utilize it often hit the fat 200 pumps and are able to stay more protected than not. And you can't win a fight without being able to hit your shots. But aiming within close quarters is much different than just about every other type of aim. You're not tracking someone out of the sky or going for tap shots from far. This close range aim requires you to do a little bit of everything. Short range tracking into micro adjustments to make sure that you're connecting on all of your shots. Now, something that is by far the most annoying in Fortnite is hitting low damage pumps, especially when you're right in someone's face. But it is somewhat avoidable if you do two things. First, ADSing. This reduces how much bloom your shotgun can have and makes the pellets go to where they should be instead of around the player. Secondly, I know this sounds a little bit goofy, but I do see a lot of players make this mistake, and simply aim for the head. Some players just shoot and want to connect wherever they can with their opponent, but the difference between hitting a pump to the body in comparison to the head is night and day, and if you're in a tight spot where you might only have 50 health, your only play might be going for one pump, and you need to maximize your chances of that happening. But that does mean if you are ADSing, you can't jump, as you won't get the advantage of the reduced bloom. But I overall recommend that you don't jump as much as possible, as it makes your movement more predictable, and easier for somebody to track you with a pump or SMG. But that doesn't mean it's always bad to jump, and sometimes you need to, depending on certain edits or based on certain situations. For me, the one time I like to jump instead is when you're underneath a ramp inside of a box. If your opponent is stuck in the corner, you jumping allows them to only hit you in the body and will give you an easy shot on their head. But let's jump back a little bit to edits that allow for you to own the right hand peek. And sometimes they may require you to jump for a quick shot. The most common one at the moment is editing the top right corner of a wall. This allows for you to choose when to expose yourself by either jumping or peeking off to the right. And this edit, compared to the typical bottom triangle edit that I see most players do, it is much safer, as it's going to allow you not to get cracked. And in comparison, the power to hide behind that wall allows for you to hold your pump out and get a shot off faster than having to edit through the wall and pull out your pump before shooting. The second edit is actually something I saw from Billy Bicep on Twitter. Basically, this peek allows for you not to be seen by the person you're shooting at, but you're still able to shoot. This edit is great for long, medium, and short range peeks, as you can use it with any of your weapons with this peek. But also, this edit is something that you can use similarly to the previous edit we talked about. This one offers the ability to pop out on the side or jump up for a shot. Either or, you have a good right hand peek that can easily take your enemies by surprise. Since the change to how taking walls happens now, there's now a 0.15 second cooldown on placing down builds on the same spot after the wall or any other build is placed. This allows for some of the more common exploits that players use to become more effective. For example, launching yourself through someone's wall using a ramp is something that has become easier and easier since. And now you can always launch in and go for a pump right away, but something that I think is so much smarter is launching through and placing a ramp within the box. This gives you control over the box and you can immediately edit through it and then go for the pump. Your opponent will be more confused than normal as they won't expect for you to launch through and then place a ramp. But overall, there's not many exploits that you really need to know anymore, as taking walls with a 50-50 coin flip is quite a game changer and allows for you to take walls even on a somewhat high ping. From there, you can always edit in and place down a ramp, which gives you control over the box. This has pretty much become the meta when editing into someone's box at this point. But using an exploit every once in a while is a great way to take your opponent by surprise, as sometimes they may not be expecting you to fly through their wall. But if you are lucky enough to have control over the box with somebody inside, traps are easily one of your best friends. They do an insane amount of damage of 150, which if someone only has mini shields, that's a free kill for you. But spamming down traps isn't going to be your best option. You have to use them at the correct time and placing them down on the correct build. For example, one of my favorite ways to use traps is when somebody is trying to steal my wall. There's nothing in front of me, I can place a ramp over them to block their shot coming at me, box them in, and easily trap them. But placing down a trap on any wall isn't the best option. Since most players are used to breaking out of the wall once they get boxed in, try placing on the ceiling. This allows for you to edit the ramp and tag them with the trap. And then you can immediately follow up with a pump or a spray weapon. This way you know for sure that they're going to be eliminated. But one of my favorite times to use traps is if somebody's boxed up somewhere and they don't think to grab their floor. If you can steal their wall and you can edit in and place on a trap, then after that you just shoot out the ramp and they'll fall straight onto the trap with no way to stop it. Then all you have to do is hit them once with your shotgun if needed to clean up the elimination. It's kind of a fun way to embarrass them and put them in a spot where they can't really do anything about it. Now with all these tips, you of course have to at least practice them, and today's background footage I used was Zone Wars, which I hope you guys didn't mind as I usually use in-game footage. But what's great about Zone Wars being in the game as an LTM right now, and it's sort of what inspired me for this video, is the fact that it's all close range fights for the most part. At least Vortex is, and that's the only map I play out of them all. There's box fights, build fights, and easily your most used weapon will be your shotgun or SMG. This is exactly the best way to practice just about everything I talk about in this video, and why not learn and practice them in a low stress and fun game mode. So whether you're new or you've been playing Fortnite for a while, Zone Wars is a great way to learn new tricks or touch up on old ones. Otherwise, one of my favorite maps I've created thus far is another great option. Basically, it's a random edit course with over 25 possible endings, but it also serves as a shotgun aimed edit course. So no matter how many times you run through it, you're going to be getting a much different course than the previous, and that's why it offers some of the best practice in my opinion. It keeps you on your toes as you're not exactly sure what edit is coming next, and the bots are great for making sure you ADS and aim for the head. And at the same time, you have to be choosing the right edits so you can practice your right hand peeks. Overall, I think this map is great for combining edit and aim to help replicate those fast-paced situations you get in game. Regardless of how your playstyle is, or whether you play competitive or casual Fortnite, box fights and shotguns are going to dominate your game if they haven't already. And knowing tips on how to combat certain tricks or exploits that players commonly use is going to benefit you in more ways than ever. So now I recommend that you take these tricks and hop into some games of Zone Wars or pubs and try them out. Take some time to get used to them and learning the ins and outs, and in no time you'll be dominating more than ever. Before I head out for this video, I want to update you guys on myself and the channel. I took a mini break during September and slowly have been trying to get back into the swing of things. I want to experiment with some new ways of delivering content to you guys, and that means videos may be coming out a little bit more irregularly than normal. But I want to keep giving you guys good content in between my busy life and make sure that I'm happy with the content I'm bringing you guys. I also am dropping a project that I've been working on for the past 2 months in a couple of days after Season 11 drops. I want to see what new items or devices that Season 11 may bring so I can implement them into the map before releasing. This map is going to have an opportunity for you all to get involved, and I'm really excited to show you guys. If you want to see some teasers, I'm going to be posting them in the days before I release it on my Twitter and Instagram to kind of build the hype up and give you guys a little sneak peek. Thank you guys for watching today's video. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, as it helps me create more content for you guys. If you want to support me even more, you can again use code SALAGE in the item shop. Otherwise, I'm going to have all my other socials linked down in the description, like my Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Other than that, thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you all real soon.